Who's excited for the 45th Capcom Ordinary General Meeting of Shareholders? Summary of shareholder comments received prior to the meeting, Q&A and comments. Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. What if I told you that it's given us some more Wilds information? Hello, my fellow hunters, and welcome, as today we talk a few little tidbits, one of which is a little bit concerning to me and touches on a subject I spoke about like 10 months ago now. But in any case, let's get into this. And what is this? Well, there was this aforementioned 45th annual shareholder meeting. And in this, like all of them, they have a Q&A section so that shareholders can, well, ask questions. Now, a lot of these questions definitely kind of convey a, let's say, certain ignorance to the game being asked about, but at the same time, let's be honest, they're not shareholders because they're in love with Monster Hunter, or at least most of them aren't. And these questions tend to revolve around, I'm concerned this thing you're doing might result in less return for the company and therefore me. Can you make my fears go away? Ooh. And then they kind of do like jazzy hands as they say that. I can only assume. I've never been in one of these. But in any case, that does lead us to some questions being asked about Monster Hunter Wilds, and the answers given we can infer or at least learn from. So that's what we're going to do. And while this is quite the extensive list of questions and answers, thankfully I've read through it so you don't have to, and there's only 3 that are really relevant to our purposes. The first one then is the release date of Monster Hunter Wilds. The question then went thusly. Wouldn't you be able to capture more profit by bumping up the release date of the next Monster Hunter title, aka Monster Hunter Wilds, currently scheduled for 2025, to the December 2024 holiday season? The answer then, we plan to announce the release timing for the latest Monster Hunter title once preparations are complete. We hope you look forward to it. We remain committed to achieving our goal of 10% or better operating profit growth each fiscal year. So this is a very fun answer, because essentially it's corporate speak for, well, we hear what you're saying, we're not going to rush out a unfinished product before Christmas for a few more sales, because we love Monster Hunter and have put a lot of work and passion into making Wilds the best version of it yet, so it's going to be released when it's ready, and that as it currently stands is 2025, but we'll let you know if that changes. But don't worry your little head, it's still gonna make a load of money. So I think that's really good to see, right? Like, it's nice that the answer to this isn't, oh, maybe actually, like, they are in a position where Monster Hunter has become the juggernaut that it is thanks to Wild, where they can rely on its success, and in doing so, actually give it the time it needs without any external pressure, like shareholders, affecting the timeline of it. They're still beholden a little bit to it being a company, of course. We're not living in fairy la la land where, you know, the bottom line isn't the bottom dollar, but at the same time, this is a healthy, positive answer. But it does give us a little bit of information because they remain committed to this 10% operating profit each fiscal year, which basically translates as, hey, we still think Monster Hunter Wilds is going to help us achieve this goal by being really successful, which means it has to release in this fiscal year to make that target happen. And this fiscal year for Capcom ends at the end of March 2025. So I think it's easy to keep assuming the thing that we've mostly have been assuming anyway, and that is that Wilds is going to be an early 2025 release in January, February, or March at the latest, in order for it to fit into this 2024 to 2025 fiscal year, and therefore a cake and eat it situation where Capcom can wait as long as they can wait to make it as good as it can be, while still making everybody happy with where it fits in their profit timeline. So that's very much interesting to know and get a little bit more, you know, confirmation-y on, and I think very safely narrow down the release date to essentially 3 months of next year, while seeing a bit of integrity that's always lovely to see. Next up then is this question. You have announced Monster Hunter Wilds for PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC, but not for portable platforms like Nintendo Switch. Will the game be limited to these non-portable consoles? The answer. One concept we've incorporated into this title is aiming to portray the maximum of the world of Monster Hunter by using the latest technology to its limit. To that end, the platforms capable of realizing that concept are currently the aforementioned 3. Going forward, we'll provide more thorough details regarding these concepts and themes when we release information on the game. We hope you look forward to it. So, essentially, this is, are we sure you can't release it on Switch? It will sell more copies. And then Capcom going, have you fucking seen this game? Do you think that's going to work on the Switch? Jesus. And again, it's really fun seeing essentially that answer dressed up in nice talk for an official meeting like this. But ignoring that, which I think is a silly question to begin with if you'd looked at one trailer of Monster Hunter Wilds, the idea here is that, yeah, they are genuinely trying their best, as I said, to make this the best Monster Hunter has ever been, especially when it comes to fidelity, to the presentation of everything we're going to be seeing and doing. And that has very much come across in the trailers. It looks on a scope even beyond World and Iceborne to a level that Monster Hunter has never seen before. They really are going to be pushing the current gen consoles and the current average PC of PC players to its limit. Like, I really think there's going to be some meaty specs on this, of course, optimized, but generally relatively to previous titles, and the evidence for that is right there in what we've seen so far. A massive seamless world is a huge step up from even just having loading screens between hub and field. Breaking down that barrier is not a decision taken lightly when it comes to the resource cost of doing so while playing the game. So that's really exciting that what has come across in what we've seen is very much directly backed up by them saying, no, we are really pushing this as far as it can go to be the best Monster Hunter can be, and unfortunately that means that weaker consoles like handhelds just aren't going to be able to cut it in a way that is going to be a satisfactory amount of performance for people who have those consoles. So that's really, really nice. But it also does make me think there might well be something even more ridiculous that we've yet to be shown, and that would make sense. We've not actually been shown that much that really is going to push things. Some epic siege encounter or some ginormous set piece. They did say the story is the most relevant it's ever been, so that would play into that really is going to make Monster Hunter sing from an audio-visual standpoint. So that really is exciting, and you might be hoping that we look forward to it, Capcom, and I can assure you don't need to hope. Oh my god. So, after that then, the next question of relevance, and indeed the final one for us, is I've heard that Monster Hunter Wilds will support cross-platform play. However, in order for players to be able to enjoy the game with peace of mind, I would like you to make an announcement on how you will handle cheating and mods, player-made modifications to the game. Answer. Thank you for your valuable opinion. The title will support cross-platform play. We ask that you please wait for future details regarding this. So, I don't even think you need me to translate that answer, really, into non-official corporate speak, but hey-o. I love the phrasing initially that I've heard that it's going to have crossplay. Like, you would presume these questions are being asked by people who at least cursorily look into the products that are being made by the company that they're shareholders of. But in any case, yeah, they seem to be very concerned that cheating, that's completely fair enough. Obviously, I have nothing to say against this. Yes, having assurances that cheating won't be a rife problem that will ruin the opinion of the game and therefore affect its sales or its review scores, which will then affect its sales. All of that stuff, completely okay. Straight up, literally cheating, yeah, no one wants that. It can ruin other people's hunts if you join them. If a PC joins a console player with various PC changes on that are very easy to do and starts one-shotting monsters and the console player just has to kind of accept it, that is potentially ruinous, and of course there will be countermeasures in place for that. There's nothing wrong with that whole exchange. But then it's the other part, and mods. And this is what I spoke about 8-10 months ago. Using mods in the same breath as cheats like they are equivalent really rubs me the wrong way, because they're just not. But before I dive into that, the answer itself, thank you for your opinion on that. cool. This will, in fact, have crossplay, and yes, of course, we're going to have systems. We'll tell you about them soon, being the answer makes a lot of sense here. It's not something to go into detail on yet, but they have obviously thought about it, and we know they have because of the little presentation they did on their new RE engine. The big slide of note back then that prompted me to make an entire 20-minute discussion on it is this. Should you target mods in your anti-cheat, anti-piracy programs? All mods are defined as cheats, except when they are officially supported. And that was really sad, because it essentially means that in an ideal world, they will build into the engine that future Capcom games like Monster Hunter Wilds will be played upon, a way to counteract, essentially, all mods, because they are lumped in with cheats. And this question, and therefore answer here, is really interesting to me in regards to that. Because you would think if that was still the hard stance, they would go, yeah, we are going to try our best to block cheating and mods into the engine. We've already talked about this. Here you go. Don't worry about it, Mr. Shareholder. But that's not the definitive answer that's going on here. But I really just want to examine this cheating and mods in the same sentence, like you're saying the same word twice, because it's just not a thing. A healthy modding community is such a blessing and boon for the longevity of your game. You only need to look at an example like Skyrim to know that. There is an endless amount of creative, talented people out there making genuinely wonderful custom content that adds hours and hours and hours of playtime for the large amount of people that are interested in that sort of thing. Monster Hunter World came out like 6 years ago now, which really upsets me to say, and the modding community for it is still alive. Of course, it has slowed down a lot, but there is still new mods being made for World literally to this day. Is that not incredible and impressive? Hell, me and Cotton kept doing Pro and Noobs on Monster Hunter World long after all official content had ended because of these custom monster creations. So hearing that that is something that is viewed at to be targeted or eliminated has always kinda... And the thing is, objectively, I do understand the pure reasoning, right? I'm not, in the clouds about it. If something is modded and the person experiencing it don't knows that it's modded, they might think it is official content. And if the mod is either poor quality, buggy, a mess, and therefore represents the game badly, that then is bad because the person who doesn't know it's a mod thinks the game is bad. Or perhaps even worse, and I think one of the biggest issues for it, a la the Chun-Li incident, is if it's the various, let's say, less savory side of modding, and they think that's official because they don't know it's a mod. I don't know how anyone would make that mistake, but still, you've got to plan for the lowest common denominator with these things. You then have a much bigger issue where you think that, oh, Capcom is putting literally naked armor models into their game. That's a bit weird, and that is a problem. Yes, that is genuinely a problem. And when I understand why anyone with invested stakes in the performance of Monster Hunter Wilds and other Capcom games would be concerned about. And I think the solution is perhaps fairly simple, and it's something that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to do with its next biggest official patch, and that is put in a officially supported mod manager. And that way you can filter the mods that are obviously not something you want to be sanctioned, while letting through the ones that are of quality, of actual creative purpose, that you think are healthy for people to experience. You have a simple filter process on it to get your mod on the official mod platform, and then you support and encourage a healthy, active modding community while letting all of the weirder ones, let's say, fall by the wayside. And the thing is, it's impossible to stop. There doesn't exist a world in which, if there is enough commitment to make it happen, and there will be, people will get round any given anti-mod systems and still mod to begin with. So I think embracing it, but putting your own parameters on it in a healthy way that shows understanding to the good parts of the modding community, while obviously letting people understand that you can't have everything because it's still a game with a public-facing responsibility, is a good call and something that I hope eventually gets looked into. Bottom line, Monster Hunter World and the mods that it had extended the life cycle of the game by years. And I think if Wild gets that strangled out of it from the get-go, it is definitely going to be a shame. And this whole question just essentially reflares that entire discussion I had and concerns that I talked about that while ago. But that is it for the 3 questions indeed, and I hope you found this at least interesting, and I would love your thoughts on the 3 major topics discussed because of this. For now though, like if you have indeed enjoyed this, subscribe for more. Please consider supporting the future of this channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.